to the plot, it's a brand new season. Boys with the heat, got the vibe that you needed. We've been grinding for the fans, no sleeping. Season 3, you know we keep the heat in. Current takes to the last, we keep it real. Talking culture sports like yo, left the deal. We kept the stories and yes, we can trill. Turn it up loud.
Welcome to the sluts, yo. What's the deal?
Welcome back. I'm pretty sure that's not what he said.
Oh, that's not what he said.
pretty sure it was PG, but man, kids rapping could be ridiculous.
Sure, well, it sounded like.
Welcome back, everybody. Season 3. Season 3.
Whoa, hold on. We lost someone's voice. Yeah. We lost someone's voice. Unmute yourself, bro.
No. What's up, my fellow peasants? At least for one more week. One more week. Then either all of us are going to be champs, or two of us are going to be two-time champs.
We were talking about that before you got here, and Charles has picked me apart just about in every position. Go, bro, you got what happened to this guy? Bro, you got a lot of people sitting. I was like, yeah, I do. There's a lot of guys that are just not playing.
Like this. That was me last year, dude. That's what I was telling him. That was me last year, except the only difference is like
70
points. I had like a 73-point lead on fucking Joey last year, and I won by 3 points.
Y'all playing with poison this week. Not only because it's the last week of the season, this is the last week of the league, and you two fine gentlemans. Yeah. One is vying to get his hands on this prestige title of being a fantasy league champion. And you got the other one on the other side trying to become a back-to-back fantasy league champion.
The beginning of the season,
you started off strong. You started off real strong.
It's crazy. I got lucky as piss. I didn't start off strong. I basically showed up every week dressed up in nothing but rabbit's feet. All right, like not loincloth either. There was just like 5 rabbit's feet put together covering that area.
Yes.
Yeah, and then of course 2 little rabbit feet on each side for the ball sack. You might have
to go playing hardcore science. We're over here doing 8th grade science. You're doing engineering science up there, trying to build the best team Frankenstein known to mankind, and you made it to the title game.
And now come playoffs, there's 2 big things too. So, for one, I obviously want to win,
right?
But at the same time, how badass would it be that the 2, like the host of the show, starting and creating the blah, 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 are the foundational champions of this?
That would be legit. I think that would be
pretty badass.
How easy would it be? You won last year. Or let's say Pat wins this year.
It goes in order.
You got 2nd place and I get 3rd place. How fucking rigged would it? Oh, that's fucking cool.
It's not rigged.
Oh, man.
By far not rigged.
No, oh yeah, God no.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles.
If it was rigged, I would not be banking on Tony Pollard, Jason McMillan, and who else?
And this is the thing: you got Lamar and Derrick Henry, and you're playing Pittsburgh.
So no. So this is the thing. Yes, but here's the best part about this. So right now the Ravens have a half-game lead. This is something we were just talking about pre-show. Also, the Ravens have a half-game lead on the Steelers. The Ravens play at 3:30. The Steelers don't play till 7. So regardless, Lamar and Derek are giving me 3/4 of football.
Because they have to do the best they can to secure that game.
Because if they win the AFC North, it doesn't matter.
But now they have to win.
But now Cincinnati is in the same kind of boat. At that point, Cincinnati's going to know they need Miami and the Colts to lose also. So Cincinnati will know by that time if they're even playing for anything. So by the end of the night, it could just be people stat padding for things, right?
Incentives and checks and shit like that.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins going down there, or
this is going to be a game of the night.
Steelers aren't playing for shit, but Cincinnati still has a chance to get into the playoffs.
The Steelers are already in, right? They're just playing for division or wild card at this point.
Yep, so they'll be playing. Yeah. Yes, because
this could possibly be the game of the night with Cincy and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because Baltimore could go out there and just falter in the first half, and
because they did lose to Cleveland earlier in the year by a fluke, but they still lost nonetheless.
Yep.
Ooh, so this is why I love football, especially when it comes down to the last week and there's just so much implications involved, and like you need like this, like you said with fantasy, the science is working right now.
Now, I'm glad you bring that up. Something Patrick and I talked about on the Packer podcast. the NFL remain a majority of everyone around the NFL or in the
You
NFL.
sounded a little off, bro.
What's that?
His mic sounds a little echoey.
Mine does?
Yes. To me, anyway.
Oh, you know why?
You switched over to your camera too now?
It's like you're far away.
Down the rabbit hole.
Charles, you gotta fix your microphone. You gotta fix your microphone. And the neck. Hey man, where's that dart in my neck?
Oh man, yeah, the fun, entertainment. Charles, you fix it? He's frozen.
Is he frozen?
Yeah, he's frozen.
Aww.
Or he's making a crazy face. He's got the crazy eye.
No, I think he is frozen.
Anybody that's not paying attention to Oregon getting their ass handed to them by Ohio State.
23-0 right now.
Entertainment.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
But then this goes back to what you said earlier. I think it was either earlier. No, I think it was yesterday that this will probably be the last year that we'll have an undefeated team if they even make it to the national championship.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have an undefeated team.
If they get rid of the automatic conference, you get a bye. That changes the landscape because how you schedule your games and everything like that. And it's like strength of schedule is going to matter now if that's the case. So you can't have these weak ass schedules at the beginning and then expect that to carry you to these long undefeated seasons because now they're going to look like you played Appalachian State and McNeese or whatever the case may be, and this team played nothing but Power 5 teams their whole conference. So
look at the teams, Paul, that are in it right now. Right. Texas, Ohio State, hell, even Penn State. These teams played a lot tougher schedules than Oregon did. Who's the toughest team that Oregon played this year? Like probably Ohio State, and they won by a point. And arguably, they only won because they ran out of time. And he did a stupid
management
play.
Was what
time clock management, kick field goal.
It's a different story right now. It's a different story. It could be a whole different story for Ohio State right now. They could have finished that game, but I think if they do get rid of the automatic bid because you won the conference championship and all that, if they actually do the top 12 and seed it like respectfully as the top 12 and the top 4 teams are the ones that get the first round bye, that changes the landscape of everything at this point.
I think they're going to do away with it because honestly,
it's not fair.
I can't see like a 9-3 team making it that lost 3 games to some
like Clemson
shit clapped school. Yeah, like
you got Clemson that were 9-3 in their conference championship game that made it in as the 12th seed as a 10-3 win, and the only reason why they got that seed is because they won the conference championship.
And do you think name recognition had something to do with that too? Their coach?
Oh, absolutely, that plays a factor. Because you can't tell me that if Alabama didn't still have Nick Saban, that wouldn't have put them in a consideration.
I can tell you one thing: they wouldn't have lost to Michigan. They wouldn't have lost to Michigan twice if they had Nick Saban,
and they wouldn't have lost to Oklahoma or lose to
Vanderbilt.
No,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That again, people want to say Nick Saban isn't a factor of how Alabama's coaching, but you're delusional.
When they hired DeBoers,
the loser.
Yeah, I never thought it was a good hire, to be honest with you. He was the hot name coaching at the time, and they probably thought they were getting a great coach. I don't think the guy mentally understands what Alabama football is, and that you can't just lose. You can't lose these games, and you've got to be able to make adjustments. And he kept on playing Milroe the same way that Milroe struggled all season. They kept on calling the same plays that he struggled with the entire season. What is he good at? He's good with his legs, and he's good on rolling out, play action. Like they didn't do either one of them.
His accuracy was way off.
His accuracy was terrible. Yeah,
it didn't get better from last year. And then I think the biggest tell for Milroe was at the Georgia game and the adjustment that Alabama didn't make. You have a 24 points going into the half, almost 30 points going into the half on Georgia, and you let them come back and beat you.
Yeah,
like you literally had them numbered.
You had them on the ropes.
Yeah. Like you had them, and you let them get away. And that's the team. And again, you not only let that lead go away and lose, you let Vanderbilt beat you, and you let Oklahoma basically just they spanked you. and then you go to Michigan or you go to Tampa Bay, play Michigan in a bowl, and you only get to put 13 points on the board, and you're supposed to tell me that's the team that was supposed to scare somebody in the playoffs?
No.
There's no way in hell you're going to tell me that Alabama team with those 3 losses was going to be good enough to beat any team in the playoffs right now.
No.
Or at least convincingly. You can't tell me that with a straight face.
No, I can't. And the most disgusting thing is watching Ohio State right now. That reminds me of what Michigan did steamroll through the playoffs last year. They got pissed off, and they're doing exactly what Michigan did. Yeah. And now if you're Texas, now that you got scared, if you got scared,
I'm a little worried.
You better start thinking about, look at what Ohio State's doing and what got you to where you are.
I'm telling you right now, the way that we played against Arizona State does not give me even the way we played against Clemson.
Well,
those 2 games did not give me confidence that was I okay with the path? Yes, because I firmly believe that was probably one of the easiest paths to a title game. Even if we played Ohio State or Oregon, regardless, I thought that would be a good path. Oregon, just because they're undefeated, so you have to give them that kind of clout because it's an undefeated team and it's in the Big Ten. I'm not saying the Big Ten is like scary, but again, you're undefeated for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because you're playing good football regardless.
The Big Ten is like the NFC North. Like
it might
not always be the best conference, but you're going to be beat up by the time you make it through it. And you're going to be battle tested.
And that's the thing. Perfect example, Michigan. No expectations to do what y'all did. Y'all go in there 6-6, beat Ohio State, get 7-6.
They played tough teams all season.
That's what I'm saying. You beat Ohio State, make it to a bowl game, and beat the team that they said should have been in the playoffs and would have had a better shot than most of the teams in the playoffs.
And they only had a transfer and I believe a couple injuries. Other than that, and they had no guys prepping for the NFL draft. They all played. That's the worst part about it.
So I don't want to hear that whole.
No,
I don't want to hear it. So I'm not saying that I'm like terrified, scared, but Texas cannot look over either of these 2 teams moving forward, whether it's Oregon or Ohio State.
Who do they play the winner?
Yeah, we play the winner of Oregon, Ohio State.
As of right now, the way that it's going with Oregon's number 1 running back going out, Dylan Gabriel's running for his life. He almost threw a pick right there.
Yeah, it's not good for Oregon.
It's not looking very good for Oregon right now.
No. And then you got Notre Dame and Georgia playing tomorrow, which I'm like, we all knew Penn State was pretty much going to win. We gave Boise State a slight chance, possibly, maybe, because of Genty. But then again, it's also, these are those mid-level teams playing against the big powerhouse teams. And it shows you that.
Oh, the offensive line versus Penn State's defensive line. Penn State's got
they were running all over Boise State
on that D line. Yeah, it's a big difference.
Singleton was running all over Boise State. Ashton Genty was, I think he was held to 50, 60 yards or something like that. He didn't even break 100 yards for the game. It's going to be interesting. The heart attacks, the amount of heart attacks that Texas gave me today before this show, I wanted to punch everybody in sight.
You don't let a team come back from 16 points down with 5, 7, 8 minutes to go in a game. Come on.
Can y'all answer me this? How is it? How is it that you go 20? You're up 24-3 going into the half, right? You got all the momentum, all the confidence. What are y'all talking about at halftime that y'all just forget how to play? What are you doing? Is this a head coach thing? Is this the players just playing too lackadated?
Charles will tell you exactly what it is. It's a Steve Sarkisian thing.
I'm starting to feel like it's
from
him.
Alabama.
Like, how are your adjustments not getting made after the second half? Why are you letting off the gas? Push their necks in.
This is why Saban let him go.
Like, why are you letting off the gas? And then when we were kicking the first field goal that Auburn missed, why are we passing the ball so much? Why are we not running the clock down to run the clock down? Why are we not running the ball? Why are we trying to pass? We're already in field goal range. Why are we not running the clock down?
The Rose Bowl is played in California, right?
Pasadena, correct,
yeah. Oregon, you are disgusting.
Well, Charles and I talked about this, Paul. It's not. It's an embarrassment.
It's
geographically, it's a home game. Yeah,
but this is embarrassing.
This is embarrassing.
I
Oh my
thought you said
God.
this is
This
a
is
bear
like
thing. I was
this
like,
is
yeah,
literally
it's a
your
bear
own
thing.
I don't
stomping
think-
grounds. These are your old stomping grounds for Oregon.
It's
Yeah.
crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I thought that they were going to be beat by Big Ten football. I really did for a majority of the season, and they played pretty decently
Right.
for a majority of the season. I guess only because Michigan was a terrible team. I don't know how they played against other people.
Before you clocked out, listen, Oregon only lost by 1 point. Won by 1 point against Ohio State.
Wow, and had Howard gone down early,
that was a mental mistake.
Yeah.
That could have been a whole different story.
But like, my point on that too is I did not expect the fan bases to get beat this bad.
Check this out.
Bro,
Does Oregon even have a fan base, or do they just have Nike money?
I think
they probably have more Nike money than fans.
I don't ever see Oregon fans anywhere.
Hey,
they have more uniform combinations than fans.
hey man,
Yeah.
I'm on my Expedia account right now, and I put in Eugene's Airport to Pasadena, $86 round trip. So it's not a money thing. That is
a flight is $86
round trip from Eugene to
That's
Pasadena.
insanely cheap, bro.
Yeah, I'm like,
You could have made that.
They can't sit there and say that it,
Now, how much is the Rose Bowl tickets though? That's
those could get pretty pricey. Let's see what an average.
Oh my God, they just did it again.
They just ran a big one.
A 66-yard rushing touchdown.
Embarrassing.
Father God.
Like Dan Lanning is going to get beat so bad that he might go into hiding.
This is Big Ten on Big Ten.
This ain't Big Ten on Big Ten. This is Big Ten on Pac-12.
Yeah. Pac-12.
That's bananas. Rich Day is on I'm not getting fired this year. Fuck you.
Rich?
They weren't going to fire him anyway, so yeah,
They're not firing him now.
No, he wasn't getting fired either.
He wasn't getting fired anyway.
No, they're too dumb. They'll keep him. $235 depending on location.
That's still not bad.
Visit Pasadena.com.
So with a plane ticket and a game ticket, you're probably spending between $350, $400.
You could probably spend $1,500. See, I'm glad we're talking about this. Listen, we were talking about.
Because we're talking about that plan you had.
Okay. So
I'm tracking.
You're $350 in right now.
You're $350 in. So here's the kicker, Patrick. You've brought this up in the season 1. You've talked about it briefly in season 2. So I think we need to do a little investigative sports reporting.
All right.
Sure.
And we need to figure out the atmosphere of these rando ass bowl games. And I think starting from season 3, moving forward, obviously, because most of these bowl games aren't until the end of next year. But we're gonna get together as a group, and once things pick up a little bit, we'll put it out to the fans, and we'll have them pick which bowl game we go to next. Or a little bit more. I'm sorry.
I think like the Armed Forces Bowl would be a good one to go to for an atmosphere.
For the very first one.
Yeah. Where is that at?
I believe it might be New York. No. Where is it? Armed Forces Bowl. Charles will find it for us quick.
Are you looking that up? Oregon only has 66 total yards of offense.
Oh, yeah, they had that in one play.
Yeah, it looks like it was played in Fort Worth, Texas this year.
Oh, there you go, Paul. Yeah.
That's right. That's in the backyard. Y'all don't even have to get a hotel. Y'all can just stay at
I think it actually rotates, though. Like, I think sometimes it's in South Carolina or North Carolina.
Well, if it's in Fort Worth next year, don't worry about finding a place to stay. You guys could just stay at the house, and we just got to worry about you guys coming down and getting...
It will be in Texas. The game will be played at the Amon G. Carter Stadium, home of the Texan Christian University Horned Frogs.
At Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're good.
All right. So that's the bowl we're picking?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Armed Force Bowl next year.
That works out for me because the wife and I are buying a house this year, so it's
ER2.
Yeah. So
all right.
Keeps it super cheap. Keeps it super cheap for all of us.
Yeah,
We'll pitch in on that catering. You know a good caterer, don't you?
Yes, my mother-in-law.
You're damn right.
Listen, perfect. I got my brain.
All right, so we'll
my brain's already clicking
because
they got 2 airports in the Dallas-Fort area, but Love Field flies in through Southwest, and they usually have deals for Southwest flying down, as long as y'all don't mind the whole sitting next to strangers because it's first come, first serve type seats and shit.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we'll be flying from Appleton to Texas.
Yeah, we
cheap.
Just
we don't.
either way. But yeah, you can fly in, stay with us. Either way, Fort
Yeah.
Worth is
Oh yeah.
just 30 minutes away.
Yeah. No, because of traffic. No, that'll work out perfectly.
Are we gonna make a party out of this shit?
See what else we
Yeah,
can
tailgating.
Then what we can do for maybe a spring trip. I think the waste management, that golf tournament.
Oh, the Arizona, it's like Phoenix or whatever.
In Phoenix.
What time? What time is that?
I want to say it's after the Masters. Let me look this up.
It's like the worst golf. It's like the worst golf event ever. It's like you get that. You need cameras.
Content.
Oh, it's for cameras. You just bring your camera out and you just
February 3rd through February 9th.
Okay.
So
that's my birthday weekend.
Well, so that's February. That's
my birthday's February 4th.
That's the wife's birthday month. The 24th.
And that's where?
That's Phoenix.
We could make that a birthday trip.
That's what I'm saying. Flying from major to major from Appleton is super cheap.
Yeah, because we flew the last time we went to, I think, to Tempe. I think we went a couple years ago for our anniversary. Yeah. I think we spent maybe on plane tickets, maybe like a couple hundred, like $300, maybe $400 for both of us round trip.
Here's the kicker, right? Here's the thing: when you're able to when you're able to buy plane tickets
ahead of time,
4 to 6 months out, it's super
cheap, stupid cheap, because there's nothing going on. Nothing's planned out to them that far.
Yeah, it's so cheap that
except us. Yeah.
We'll
figure it out.
Like, I can make. Was that this February? Y'all trying to do that this February?
No,
in 2026.
2026.
That's season 4. It's season 4.
Freaking better.
Season 4 kickoff. Yeah. No, bro, we're buying a house this year. I can at best do one thing. Best.
My bank is only allowed to do so much.
Yeah.
Fort Worth.
I like the ambition that we're growing into this.
$39 to Dallas Fort Worth.
It's beautiful. It's freaking beautiful.
It's called Last Minute Flights. BookingBuddy.com.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, flying into Dallas is going to be super cheap. And
any major airport out of Appleton.
And the best part is you guys have a place to stay.
Yeah. No, that'll be perfect.
That's the best part.
Worst case scenario,
we find a cheap hotel that we can get next to the stadium.
Dude. Worst case scenario, we're staying at a Hilton, bro.
At the Ritz.
I got Hilton honors, bitch.
Hilton honors. There you go.
That's what I'm saying. We're staying at the Hilton, bro.
Yeah. Touche.
So that's futures. I want to check out the bowls. All right.
I just want to see the atmosphere.
Here's the kicker. This might be a dying thing. We as much as because this college football playoff is going to change. So we might as well go out, meet some of the fans, check out some of the environment, try and make the most of the environment. That way, later on in seasons, we can giggle and laugh and go, do you remember when they had those bowl games?
It's so stupid.
It sucks we never got to go see more. But man, those were dumb.
That would be a hell of a bucket list, man.
Hey, you remember when we used to have bowl games? Yeah, that was cool.
Can you imagine the content that we can get from interviewing people?
Absolutely. Because that's the thing. Listen, everybody wants to go to the Rose Bowl. People probably think about the Pop-Tart Bowl now because that's fucking cool.
Yeah, but the fans. The thing is, the fans for those teams will show up. So you're going to have dedicated, hardcore fans.
Absolutely.
And honestly, most
just put up a book with a sign
that's going to be
says,
fantastic.
Tell your fan story on our podcast. Literally, it'll just be a sign up. Tell your fan story on our podcast.
We can have merch and everything, giveaways and shit.
I don't even need merch. They'll be all so wasted. You can just hand them like stickers.
No, that's the thing.
Even fucking that.
We'll have hats for sale, T-shirts and shit. I'd be fucking. Let's see what happens, man. Fuck it. As long as we keep it under $12,000, Uncle Sam don't give a fuck.
No.
It's gonna work. I'm excited for that. I just got really excited for that.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to. You've always got to be changing. You always got to be looking for something new. And here's the kicker: we're going to be going around the country over the next few years. We're bound determined to run into one of you sons of bitches that listen to us. There tends to be quite a few.
Hey, it's the boys with the heat.
Oh my god!
Guys.
I'm gonna be like, let's go get a tattoo. I don't know what to say when I'm excited or what to do with my hand.
I just saw a thing, Paul, because you brought up your championship belt. I just saw a thing the other day that a guy He got last place in his league, and
Ooh.
he had to get a tattoo on his ass that said last place, and then it had the league name and the year. And the guy goes, "You got to put it on the other ass cheek." He goes, "Because I already got a tattoo on this one because I lost last time."
Damn.
He goes, "Apparently, this isn't the first time this guy's done something stupid in his life where he had to get a second tattoo."
You know what makes this win?
I know somebody who's got a smiley face on their ass.
You got a smiley face on
was
your
that because
ass?
of a bet or just something you wanted to do?
This person was probably drunk and watched a movie in the 90s.
You want to know what made this championship the second time around more sweeter?
Yeah.
Last year, I beat my brother-in-law, my sister's husband.
Yeah.
And guess what place he got this year?
Last place.
Last place. And then this year, I beat my wife's brother.
Yeah.
And he lives in Dallas. And guess what? When we move next week or next year, I'm gonna just every Sunday and be like, this year I'm be like, somebody wanted to say hello.
Every time they come over, just stumble out with this. I don't even know where this came from.
Come on, man. Let me go put it back.
You just wear a really big shirt and you just pull it right over top of it, and you have you just stretch and it just raises up, and there's the belt right there.
But shout out to everyone in the fantasy league this year. You guys did fucking awesome. I even the guy who literally can't think played well.
Yeah.
One game this year when it mattered, beat my ass. I was the Titan before. Like I had a 67 point favorite on this guy, and
it was competitive all the way until about week 13, week 14, when people started to get eliminated from the playoffs, and then people stopped setting their rosters, adding players. But that's typical. That's typical for a
me and Jonathan had to play for the last spot. That right there was epic, bro.
And we were just talking.
That doesn't happen very often.
No, and I was just talking too. I felt just terrible. Like you two fought for that last playoff spot, and now this week he's fighting for the 7th place trophy. I'm like, oh my, like that's how competitive, and it was a really cool.
It was not easy to get where I got. Like it was, or even for you guys, just to stay on top. Like it wasn't
back-to-back 10+ win seasons. Yeah, that's And I've done it on both ends of the spectrum now. I've done it from third. I got a top 3 pick and a bottom 2 pick now.
Now
I like the bottom. I like the bottom now.
I liked the bottom more than the top.
I'm saying it's one thing to get it one time, but it's always harder to get it again.
I mean, I've only got a 10-point lead, and I mean I'm projected. I think it was 30 or 40 point win here. So I think at
anybody's ball game though.
At best,
they'd have to shut Charles's top 3 players would have to get completely shut down, and I need a miracle.
But I'm like,
but other
possible.
Than that,
I mean,
anything is possible.
This is on paper more of a David and Goliath situation due to player resting. Yes, absolutely. But I went in last season to the tournament as the number 1 seed.
We might change things up and eliminate this, like Paul said, in the future. Maybe when we go to our keeper league.
Where we what?
Just to avoid this situation that we're running into. Not that it wouldn't have mattered, because Charles would have won regardless because of last week. So it wouldn't have changed anything.
Oh, the 2-week playoff.
The 2-week playoff format. Just because of this, we're running into players getting injured and issues.
We ended it the 3 years ago because it was just it caused way too much headache trying to, especially if you make it to the finals, it can cause a lot of underperforming if you're supposed to be the best team and then half your team is resting because they've made the playoff, clinched or whatever, and they're resting, and so it's who the fuck am I gonna play? Because
players that bad teams are hard to find this time of year.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's why it's funny too, because once the playoffs started, once my lineup set, my voodoo moment. Honestly, as I've looked at it, I've looked at my phone, I've looked at the team, and I've gone, just do what you're supposed to do. And then I won't look at it again because I can't do anything. I can't play. I'm not making the plays. I'm not calling. I just picked a player to put in.
Do you stress out more in the playoffs than you do the regular season when you're setting up your lineups?
No, because I don't want to say that I don't stress out, right? Because
you tend to overthink.
I said it and forget it because otherwise I'll overthink it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of overthinking. I did a lot of overthinking last year, and that's what caused me to lose a lot in the beginning of the season. And I had to George Foreman it from there on.
Charles had Tinker Stinker time where he's got his phone. He's son of a bitch, gotta get
I feel you.
Everything that happened in my favor this year was against me last year. Like if you were within 3 points of me, you beat me. That was the statistic last year. I either beat you by 90 or you beat me by 5 or less. It was fucking nuts. But I scored more points this year. And I was laughing. I said the points against me were more than anybody else in the league scored. I was like, what the fuck? Dude, the schedule was crazy this year. I was super excited about it.
Guys, did I tell you the story that just happened? I went to go type in ESPN in my search bar, shut out Google, and I typed in E, and it went to EA, and then it went to Eat Pelican.
Oh, man.
People eat pelicans?
Is that a thing? I'm like, people eat raccoons.
I don't know.
So...
But that was a search term. I'm like, did I ever search that? I have no idea. Maybe at some point when I was...
the internet's listening too hard.
Thinking about something? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's been a wild week, to say the least.
It has. It's been a fun week, though. Let's recap a little bit of the NFL. See where we're headed, see where we're looking, see where we were right, see where we were wrong.
Seattle didn't make the playoffs.
So I was
You
right
were correct.
there.
You were correct about that.
Washington. Okay, so they had. What did they have when I said that they would be lucky to have 3 more wins? They had 3 or 4 wins.
They might have had 3 or 4 wins.
I think it was 4 at the time.
I think it was 4.
So where are they right now?
I believe they're 8 and something. So
you said you would have win. You said, if I remember correctly, they wouldn't win no more than 3 or 4.
They'd be lucky to win 3 more games.
Oh no! The Seahawks are 9-7.
Okay, so I was a little off there. I mean,
they got.
But the losses, I think that they shot themselves in the foot with most of those losses.
Oh, no, absolutely. I think Seattle is 1 or 2 pieces away. Honestly, I think.
Yeah. They lost to the Giants.
Yeah, I think they're consistent quarterback play. I think they're missing consistent quarterback play, and they're missing 1 or 2 pieces on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively.
I think they need to get another receiver. Not saying that Lockett isn't a good receiver, but he's getting old, and Metcalf can't do it by himself. I know Smith. I can't remember. I can't say his other last name, but Smith.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
He's coming up, and I think he's going to be a star.
Very much so. Yes,
but I think you're right. If they can get a better quarterback,
they've got a good running back room.
Right.
They've got a decent offensive line, but they've got a head coach that's going to focus on the trenches and Mike McDonald. So you're not going to have to worry about that.
If you either, what's his name? Damn it, I forgot the goddamn quarterback's name. Geno Smith needs to elevate somehow, some way this offseason, or they're going to have to find a replacement soon, either in the draft or in the offseason, because something has to change. It's not saying that Geno Smith is a bad quarterback. He was decent. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if they draft one, at least they know that they know what they're getting out of Geno Smith. So he can at least sit for a season.
53-man roster. You know why it's not a 50-man roster?
Because they need the extra quarterbacks?
Because there needs to be 3 fucking quarterbacks, right? Yeah. Absolutely. Geno Smith is a really good backup quarterback. And situationally, he can win you 3 or 4 games in a season if need be. And he can come in and dominate a game when the game plan was meant for somebody else.
He's managing the game, but now we need somebody to take it a step above that. I'm like, it's great that you can manage the game, but I need you to win me the game.
And I don't think you're going to get that with Geno. Geno's been in the league for a really long time now.
I think over a decade.
Let's not be wrong. He is 5th in the NFL in passing yards.
He's a good quarterback. I'm not saying that he's terrible.
That's better than a backup. I wouldn't say a backup would be able to do that. He would be a good starting quarterback for a crappy team. He's a starting quarterback, just not for playoff quality.
I think him and Matt Flynn are the same fucking quarterback.
I don't know. Matt Flynn couldn't run. At least Geno can run.
Okay, I'm just saying, but Matt Flynn could run the Green Bay Packers offense great. And it got him a really good contract
that he didn't deserve.
From the offense, or did you just have one good game?
But at least Geno's playing to his contract to an extent.
Sure,
he's saying 9 wins. I'm like, even if they lose next week, you still have a winning season.
Yes, that has everything to do with the head coach, Pete Carroll.
They're guaranteed to have a winning season. They got 9 wins. So
that's what I'm saying. You got a winning season, regardless of what happens next week. You still come out the season. You're up. I'm not saying that it's great.
Who do they end the season on? The Rams or the?
They might get 10 wins.
Who are they playing this week?
If it's the Rams, I've got it up right now.
It's the Rams, yeah.
Yeah, I think they will get that extra win because the Rams are resting those old asses.
They already got they got a home playoff game. They got the division. They don't need to play for anything.
They're resting Stafford.
Yeah,
they're resting Coop.
Well, this is how they're resting him. All right, check this out. This is how they're resting him. Seahawks are on the road, and they're 7-point favorites.
Yeah.
Fucking.
You got Cooper Kupp, don't you?
I got Kupp. He's projected to get 5 points.
Oh, yeah, you're wasted. And you look at I'm gonna bet on the Rams.
Yeah, so listen, so actually,
Seattle might walk away with 10 wins and miss the playoffs.
Seattle's gonna walk away with 10 wins and miss
the playoffs.
Seattle's gonna have 10 wins, and the Rams are gonna have 10 wins. Seattle's 1-1 against the Rams, but because of the strength of schedule, strength of victory.
Hey,
the strength of victories versus the Rams.
Let me tell you this division right now: 7-9, 6-10, 10-6, 9-7. They're all within 2 games of each other.
Yeah,
that's
crazy. That division's getting better. It used to be ran.
It was just the injuries that got.
Listen to this.
The Niners, it's the injuries, yeah, for sure.
You make it to the NFC Championship 3 straight years and the Super Bowl 2 out of 3 years.
Charles, be honest. You said this on the Packer podcast. You said that older teams are phasing themselves out, and guess who's one of those teams? It's the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm super blessed to be a Packer fan. I'm telling you, for us to be where we are,
and you should be excited too, Paul. Caleb Williams is not a terrible quarterback. At least you guys have something positive to think about.
My main concern, my 2 main concerns going into this offseason, which started like 4 weeks ago, is that's when we fired Eberflus. That's when
Chicago knows what they need to do.
The locker room started after that Hail Mary
and draft some fucking offensive linemen.
Listen, the offensive line and hiring an offensive-minded coach to.
I hate to be a dick, but the Chicago Bears might need a clean house on that offensive line.
If you don't
completely
fire
clean
Ryan,
I'm not gonna fight you on that statement, Patrick.
I know they can't financially, but
I think they're one, maybe at worst 2 pieces away on that.
We need a left tackle.
But the thing is, Charles, they got no depth. So you got to basically.
If we can get us a good left tackle and a center.
Well, yeah, you need at least, like you said, you need at least 2 starters. You got to have 2 studs.
Solid, tight starters on that offensive line.
Oh, I can't believe they didn't call that.
This game has gotten completely out of hand. Anybody watching the Ohio State game, you might as well just turn it off at this point. It might be 60-0. It might be 60-0.
Like they're going 34-0 into the half. The number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, embarrassing.
Hold on, now listen. Michigan State was down 38 in one of their bowl games, and they came back to win like 41-38 or 40.
I don't think these chrome buckets are going to make it.
Ohio State completely down. Not with that. Here's the thing. I knew
Michigan
wasn't a great football team when they almost lost to Wisconsin. That's when reality hit that Oregon's not that great.
I don't know if we talked about this when I slipped, but you brought this up off show too. Any one of these teams this year would get steamrolled by any 4 of the teams that were in the playoffs last year.
I believe the Texas team last year was miles ahead better than what they were this year. I think this Texas team with Xavier Worthy and a few more pieces would have beat the hell out of this Texas team. I think Paul might even agree with that. Texas was probably offensively better last year. Defensively, they're better this year.
Michigan had
I think offensively, weapons-wise, I think we're better than we are last year, but it's just Quinn Ewers is the thing that is holding us back.
But the thing is, there's no reason to. There's nothing. Arch Manning didn't even come in the game. Like, why not?
This is the thing, and I think
in the goal line.
My concern when it comes to yours, when it comes to this offense, especially if we're going to have to play Ohio State, is if his confidence gets shot early in the game, how is that going to carry over to the rest of the game?
I hate to say this, and I hate fucking Ohio State. I hate it.
They're going to skull drag us.
If you guys lost to Georgia, Ohio State is Georgia 3.0.
They're going to skull drag us.
Ohio State is offensively, defensively 3 times better than Georgia is, even when Georgia was healthy. And I think any Georgia fan might even say that they're at least 2 times
I think the only
better.
thing that's going to keep us in the game, if they're able to, but I don't know how long that's going to keep, is the defense. But if the Ohio State's offense keeps punching and punching, we're going to get
without
gassed.
pressure, you're going to get gashed because you have to run the ball against Ohio State.
We
If you
have to
can't run the ball, you're going to get blown out.
And this thing, we have to have time of possession. If we can't control the ball and have at least each drive hold at least 6 to 8 minutes, our defense is gonna get tired, and it's gonna what happened with Arizona State is gonna happen with Ohio State, but on a worse scale, and it's gonna look ugly.
Score. This reminds me of them pushing the guy with a stick. Come on, do something.
Is this gonna be like the TCU game?
Did they have they didn't call that a touchdown?
It's a touchdown. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say they didn't call it a touchdown.
No, the dude was just like, "Don't get over here and celebrate. We're down 34-7, bro." Jazz is to the sideline.
We got nothing to talk about.
We got work to do. I loved that. That was great to see.
I'm like, what are you celebrating for, bro? You down?
Was it the quarterback that told him not to, or
no? The guy who got the ball, the wide receiver. We got work to do.
We got a whole hill to climb.
All he did is raise his fist.
And this is the thing, it's not unattainable. A comeback is not impossible.
You're down 27 points going into halftime. All right, let's just say they're not going to score in 2 seconds. They're not going to score unless that kickoff return for a touchdown, which entirely could happen.
Quarters left. There's 30 minutes of football left.
You're down 27, and I believe they get the ball, or did they kick off? I never watched the beginning of it.
I didn't watch but they just got the 2 points, so it's 34-8.
They need a miracle. Let's be honest.
It's not impossible, though.
It's not impossible, especially with Oregon's offense. But
this could be the next Serve Pro commercial. They could come out of that locker room and make it look like it never happened.
Yeah,
I'm like, this could be Georgia, Alabama all over again.
Yeah, we talked about that when you were gone, Charles Pauls. Remember when Alabama had Georgia on the ropes, and then they just took the rest of the 2 quarters off, and
we could see that happen possibly.
Maybe, yeah.
The likelihood
is very rare because this is a playoff game compared to just a regular season game. I don't think Ohio State's that dumb where they don't know what they need to do to succeed to score points. I think they'll just wing it down the field. They'll get lucky on a play, and even if they do come back, Ohio State will probably end up winning the game because they want to see Ohio State in the national championship, and I think that's pretty obvious too. They want the best team from the Big Ten playing the best remaining team. You saw that when Ohio State was favored in this game.
Beats Oregon, does that vindicate them to make them like they're the best Big Ten team this year, or is Oregon
what the hell? The Browns and the Steelers both play on January 4th.
Yeah, there should be a Saturday game, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of Saturday games. There's no, and then the rest are on Sunday.
The last 2 weeks of the season, there's usually Saturday games.
Yeah.
Yep. There's
Sunday night, I think the Cincy Pittsburgh game is the last game of the week.
Yeah.
Last game Thursday, yep. And then Sunday, the Sunday night game, is the Vikings-Lions.
Which is going to be a bang.
Listen, game. This is sad, but I cannot scroll down anymore in this NFL season.
No,
this is it.
Done.
The season's over, bro.
I had something I wanted to bring up to the both of you.
Fast.
It does. We're about to be entering a universe where we're extreme ironing and
we're gonna get into
hopping.
weird.
I love our off season, bro. I love our off seasons, and I can't wait to start those fucking random racing videos, bro. I'm serious. I can't wait.
We can watch one. We can watch one live as long as we don't have any of the logos or anything in there. I think
I can't wait.
It's gonna be able to blur everything out.
And eventually sponsors will come up.
I know you wanted to bring this up a long time ago, Charles. It might have been last season, this podcast episode. We talked about this a little bit. Now we're at the end of the season. We'll do our picks. We'll talk about the final games. But this is just something that's been eating at me that I thought about. I heard it on another show, and I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. This is cool. Name a football player. Like you said, they got drafted. Would he be better on a different team? Did they ruin him by drafting him? Like a quarterback, a player, receiver, defensive player, doesn't really matter. Johnny Manziel, you think he would have been better getting drafted somewhere else, playing somewhere else?
No.
You don't think so, Charles?
The dude watched 0 hours of game.
What about Reggie Bush or Vince Young if they would have went to different teams?
Vince Young probably would have had better success if he wouldn't have been told, yes, you can still run the ball and act like a fool. Because let's be honest, when he went and got drafted, They abused the hell out of him.
RG3.
RG3 as well. He probably would have been better somewhere else. RG3 reminds me a lot of Jaden Daniels.
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck, though, it was because he got
hurt too much.
Didn't he get like a collapsed lung, or he had
he was just tired. I think it was something with his
it was
ribs
his liver.
or his lungs.
It was his liver got split in half.
But he was tired of getting hurt, and the man retired before the game even started.
Yeah, but now he's the damn like CEO or CFO.
He's the GM of the Stanford
at
Cardinals.
Stanford University. Yeah.
So
he's not. I don't think he's hurting. I think a smart guy.
I'm not saying that he's hurting, but it's what if they would have actually had an offensive line to block for him to actually stay on his feet?
He could have probably won at least a couple Super Bowls. He would have been Manning-esque in Indy. I could see him winning a Super Bowl in Indy.
So the 3 players for me that come to mind.
Listening.
And I want to hear the team that you think they would have been better on too.
Okay, so I'll give you the names first. Randy Moss.
Instead of?
Barry Sanders. And Phillip Rivers.
You think all 3 of those would have been better?
I'm like, Phillip Rivers had a great career.
I don't know if Randy Moss could have been better anywhere else because he was playing indoors. That was like the perfect fit for him.
When you hear Randy Moss, do you think Jerry Rice?
As far as what? No, I think Randy Moss stands alone.
Randy Moss might have been better because he was the
but that's my point right there. That's my point. Might have been better.
No.
See, I think if Randy was on a team that won championships, I don't think that would be a question.
So if he would have won that one with Tom Brady, undefeated the whole way through, I'm just saying that one Super Bowl, and you're telling me that could have put him over?
No,
because I was like, "There's no freaking way."
No, that's what I'm saying. If Randy was on a team that was more championship hungry and had way more playoff games, I think Randy would have been in a much different conversation than he is right now.
But the problem is that,
and I'm not saying Randy's in a bad conversation. Randy's in a great conversation.
The thing is, just because he won Super Bowls, I don't think he would have had I don't think playing outdoors he would have had the same stats. So he might not. Maybe he would have had titles, but I don't think he would have had the stats.
But even when he played in New England,
Randy played in New England great.
He played in New England only a couple of years, but he also played with Tom fucking Brady.
The question was a player drafted to a different team. My answer with that, and Randy Moss is great, and we haven't even gotten to Barry or Phillip yet, which I love.
Well, I already know you're going with Barry. Char.
I can definitely give you Barry just for the.
I'll give you the Barry one.
I wish Barry had. He
could have gone anywhere.
Offensive line.
I agree.
Emmett Smith's offensive line, but I think Randy would be in a much elite.
Oh no,
I don't think he would have been snubbed in the Hall of Fame either.
No, he wasn't snubbed this time around, was he?
He was snubbed in the Hall of Fame. He should have been a first ballot. I still don't think Randy accepted it, did he?
I don't know. We'll have to dive into that. I don't even know.
If I were to do any receiver of that caliber, I think for me, probably I would say T.O. over Randy Moss.
See? That's what I'm saying.
I would probably do T.O. just for the simple fact that
2018. Yeah, I agree with Charles when it comes to like him winning titles, getting more pub.
Right. He definitely
it would have gave him an would have pushed him up to that first tier probably because of the titles, he played with, the team.
A wide receiver Mount Rushmore. Super easy conversation. Randy Moss.
If he had a couple rings.
But give me the best wide receiver ever, and I don't know if Randy Moss can be in that conversation, because if we're talking about the best ever, we have to include championships.
Okay, let me ask you this then.
Because did you right now,
how many receivers can you say are in your mount? Which ones would you put in your Rushmore right now, receiver wise?
Oh, that's a question for another time. I can't just sit here.
But I'm saying, so you're saying right now
there's 15 to 20 wide receivers that would be in position for the Mount Rushmore. But now there's 2 unquestionables: Jerry Rice and Randy Moss,
without a doubt.
So that's just my point. That was my point with Randy Moss. That was if he would have gotten to a more championship loving team.
Do you think where he got drafted was a big factor with the off field issues that he had while he was playing at Marshall? And all that stuff. Did that play a factor?
Indubitably. Regardless of why he got drafted, where he got drafted, yes.
Back then, it was people were way more hypocritical back then.
Yeah, very much. But I feel like Randy was one of those tickets. Okay, so then Barry Sanders, but then you got Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was a really good quarterback. Arguably, you can't argue him out of the top 10. As the years go on, you could probably argue him out of the top 5.
I think you could say that he's our generation of Dan Marino.
Mm-hmm.
One of those good quarterbacks that could just never get over that hump and actually get you a title, but always was able to give you season after season, stat-wise.
But here's my favorite thing about the Super Bowl. A Super Bowl is won with 53 people.
Correct.
Because everybody talks about the 11 currently on the field at that time. But a Super Bowl, in fact, is won with 53 people. Because in an NFL season, everyone's hurt. Everyone has injuries. Everyone has something to do. The teams that do really well in the playoffs are teams that can win differently.
Look at what the Redskins did back in the day. They won a Super Bowl with was it the third string quarterback?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's what I mean by Super Bowls are won by a 53-man roster. So, yeah, it's great to have a quarterback. And generally speaking, only 2 types of teams win the Super Bowl, a rookie contract Super Bowl or an MVP Super Bowl. But if we're talking MVPs...
He ain't got it.
It's Phillip Rivers to a team like...
I would have said like the Rams.
The Rams, yeah, that would have been a good one.
And Phillip Rivers
with Jeff Fisher.
Well, because they would have built around him, yeah.
And Phillip Rivers was just stuck in an era
can you imagine
Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady.
Well, here's the kicker. Can you imagine Phillip Rivers with the team Sam Bradford had with the Rams?
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been because that would have been really good. You're saying just shortly after Kurt Warner type era, you get Phillip Rivers. I think that one would have been really good. Can you imagine Phillip Rivers with Pete Carroll in Seattle instead of Russell Wilson?
Imagine if Phil
been better
if he would have stayed with New York, and let's say the Mannings never made that trade, and he would have stayed in New York instead of getting traded. What could that have been?
New York could have been
Rivers versus Eli being who he is.
I think the Giants probably win more Super Bowls with Phillip Rivers than with Eli.
Oh yeah,
and then how
because if you switch Eli and Phillip, Eli doesn't have any Super Bowls with the fucking Chargers either.
No,
it's probably
nobody
doesn't have the
winning
career
Super Bowls with that defense.
Yeah, probably doesn't have the career Phillip had.
And then imagine the MVPs that Phillip Rivers probably could have won playing with the Giants.
I think Phillip Rivers is probably one of my bigger ones just off the top of my head.
I can give you Phillip Rivers and especially Barry Sanders because again,
all
Detroit
3 of mine are quarterbacks, and you're going to be
Detroit
like,
definitely failed him in the sense of
and Megatron could have been
right. Both of those 2 got failed by, and even Stafford. If you really want to just get technical,
no, Stafford got his storybook ending, but
I'm saying as far as what if they? Because Stafford.
That's true.
That would be fucking hilarious.
All right, now Charles, break us down. I already know where you're going with your third one, Barry Sanders. Come on now, it's pretty obvious where you're going to go with this one.
No, the third one was Phillip Rivers.
Oh,
so where would you put Barry at? With you said Emmett the Dallas.
No, I would put Barry with Brett Favre.
I can see that.
Barry and the Packers would have been pretty decent, but I don't know if I would do that to Ahman Green or any of those running backs, Antonio Brown, any of them. I don't know if I could. Or Antonio Brown, Jesus. I don't know. 49ers?
Ooh. Yeah, that he probably would have been better there.
He probably would have been much better there.
They were winning back then, so.
That would have been scary.
Even Kansas City.
Dallas. I think if Barry and Emmett were switched, there would be more about Barry than there is about Emmett today. And not that there would be less about Emmett, but I'm just saying with the same platform, Barry would have created.
True,
that system probably would have been
that
system would have been great for Barry.
And that offensive line would have been just the fucking bee's knees.
He would have tore that out. He would have.
Those were the cocaine Cowboys, man. That offensive line didn't feel pain. They were just pushing people to fuck around.
So like this year, like Jacobs, Henry, and Saquon, right? For the most part, they don't get touched until they're 4 to 8 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Correct.
For the most part.
On average.
Can you imagine if Barry Sanders had one of those offensive lines?
And the way he moved his feet?
Oh, my God.
Ridiculous.
He didn't have much of an offensive line.
Oh, my
God. I mean,
the way that he...
Look at him.
I don't care where you put Barry, just put him with a fucking offensive line.
Even to this day,
put him on 10 teams.
You put up the clips of Barry Sanders' years of him just making people's ankles break. The way that it was just...
Well, and his
college... videos are way cooler though than his.
But I'm just saying, it's like the way for him to this, because remember back then those pads were way bigger, bulkier, and heavier, and you know what I'm saying, and still to be able to move, and
Yeah, they
then
had
on
metal.
top of that. And on top of that, it wasn't grass in Detroit. They were playing on basically.
Oh, it was concrete and chewed up tires.
And
Basically the same
so
stuff.
for him to be able to move like that,
The thing I'm probably most impressed with Barry about his running was his patience.
yes,
I think his patience goes. The fact that he would at times just sit there for a second to a second and a half,
you know who
and
else
then
used to do
cut
that?
off and go. I see a lot of that in Derrick Henry. I see a lot of that.
Le'Veon Bell used to do that early on.
Le'Veon Bell used to do
He used
that.
to sit back
Yeah.
there for a few seconds and then just.
He did this shit out of that in Michigan State too. You want to watch some fun running back videos?
Like
Go watch
Le'Veon Bell used
Le'Veon
to
Bell.
be good until his head started to get.
Then who's that dude that came from Wisconsin? Wisconsin had a really good.
Oh, he had Ron Dane.
Rod Dane.
Yeah.
He played for the Giants. He set a lot of records. He had over 2,000 yards in a.
Didn't he win the
college
Heisman
football
too
season.
out of Wisconsin?
Yeah, Ron Dane won the Heisman out of Wisconsin. He was a beast.
Wisconsin.
And he went to the Giants and fizzled out after 4 years.
Yeah, Wisconsin's had some really good football players. They picked up some decent players in the draft. Transfer portal.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be better. You got a good coach. Things should be looking out for Wisconsin. All right, you guys ready for number one?
Yeah.
All right, number one on my list is he might have did his career, might have went sour himself, but Mike Vick. Had Mike Vick not been drafted and went to Atlanta, I believe his career would have been a lot different.
Yeah, if you could have gotten him away from his brother.
Got him away from his brother, yeah. And honestly, the best situation for him at the time, and I know they didn't need a quarterback then, but had they got him in Atlanta, they had him there for a while. He shouldn't have been there. They had no weapons for him. It was basically his legs. But what about drafting him to the Saints?
Who?
Mike Vick. They had Manning. Or was that when Manning went to the Colts? I don't remember when it was, but it might have been when Manning was with the Colts. I don't remember the year off the top of my head.
No, they didn't get drafted together.
No, I'm pretty sure the Saints during that time had old Drew Breesy.
I don't think so, not yet.
Him and Phillip Rivers hadn't done their thing.
I don't think that he split. I don't think he left San Diego at the time yet.
Wow, that was a long
Because
time.
Vick, I think, because he made the cover of Madden in 2004.
That dude's got just as much gray hairs as I do.
I think he got drafted in either 2000 or 2001 to the Falcons.
2001.
And then I think he made the cover in 04 or 05 of Madden.
I still remember that old commercial too, when the Michael Vick experience.
If Michael Vick could have got drafted to a different team, would have had worked again because his scheme was still a new way of playing, the way his playmaking skills was.
Well, that's why I said he would have been better in a dome with faster receivers, or the St. Louis Rams back then. They weren't the LA Rams. I believe they were still the same.
There is a big elephant in the room that I'm not sure how to say as a 6 foot tall white bald guy.
I think I know what you're going to say.
There is a type of quarterback that has not successfully achieved a Super Bowl yet. And that is who we're talking about, which is the question I have.
Russell Wilson won one as a running quarterback.
Russell Wilson was, to look up his accuracy that season, he was a good quarterback. The year they lost, he was a terrible quarterback.
Yeah, the left-handed quarterback, though. Wasn't Vick a left-handed quarterback?
Yes.
That's Penix is the next quarterback that we're seeing that throws left-handed. It's harder for a defender to block a left-handed pass because you're going with your right hand and he's throwing it. You basically have to throw across the body to get away from the defender. So it's a little bit harder. That's why Penix.
Arguably, Michael Vick got better with Philly passing-wise than he was in Atlanta. He was still mobile.
Had he been drafted to Philly originally, he probably would have had a better chance.
Okay, here we go. What if he was drafted by Kevin O'Connell?
You might have had a better chance then.
This dude's a fucking quarterback whisperer.
Yeah.
He brought the ghost out of Sam Darnold. Or Bradford, whatever the fuck his name is.
Well, Sam Bradford's number 2 on my list. I believe Sam Bradford would have had a completely different career had he not gotten completely fucked in Minnesota. Like, he never should have been drafted and gone to Minnesota. Like, does Minnesota ruin quarterbacks and then ship them
Sam
off?
Bradford never got drafted by Minnesota. He got drafted by St. Louis. He played in Minnesota after a couple stints in St. Louis.
Did he play in St. Louis? I thought
He got Sam
drafted.
Bradford. Oh, Sam Bradford got drafted by St. Louis. Then he went to Arizona, then Philly, then Minnesota, and then never to be heard of again.
Oh, he did play, but he just never. That's what you don't even remember him. So St. Louis is the one that gave him all the money.
Yes, twice.
Yeah.
For some reason, Charles and I both think that Sam Bradford was drafted by
St. Louis
Minnesota
gave him all
and
that
got
money his rookie year, and Arizona paid him a shitload of money for nothing. Philly also paid him a decent amount of money as well.
His best season, he had 21 touchdowns and 13 picks.
He robbed the league worse than Kirk Cousins is doing.
Yeah, at least Cousins was almost MVP-esque a couple seasons.
Yeah. The way Sam Bradford finessed 4 teams in the NFL still needs to be studied.
Because Sam Bradford in college was fantastic.
That's not saying much.
Yeah. Then
in college was fantastic.
I don't think he was. He looked awful when he threw the football. He had no freaking. He couldn't throw a spiral.
There's a lot of quarterbacks that look good in college and look like do trash in the pros.
The only reason the reason that Tim Tebow looked good is because that team was completely fucking stacked. Too. That Florida team was completely.
And him having a Heisman, winning
the criminals.
Yes, Charles, I am well aware of that.
Criminals. And then it doesn't hurt that he got a Heisman. He was a runner-up for a Heisman. Has 2 national titles. And I think he has 3 SEC titles to his name. Like, he had a fucking career in college. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. But again, how many quarterbacks win the Heisman and actually do something when they get to the pros?
Who's your number 3?
Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford was absolutely a dog in college throwing the football.
Not debating that.
He got completely fucked by going to Detroit. No offensive line.
We did do that little simulation where he won just as much as Rodgers did.
Yeah. I just think that in Detroit they were always playing from behind because their defense was so bad for so many years that he didn't get the right team. Obviously, he did pretty damn good when he was with the freaking Rams.
Still doing good with the Rams.
I think his career would have just been more successful. I'm not going to say that he was a bit of Hall of Fame football player.
Listen, Matthew Stafford is the same, just like Randy Moss.
I just think he was physically gifted enough in his younger years that he was a 300-yard a game.
Chris Carter too, man.
He's a Brett Favre type quarterback. He would have maybe won a Super Bowl or 2 with the right team. Maybe at San Francisco, maybe even Arizona when they were good with Fitzgerald and all those guys. Yeah.
That would have been fun to watch. But then you say Fitzgerald, I get the offensive line as
Larry Fitzgerald was one that probably would have had a better career had he gone somewhere else too.
But he was loyal to a fault.
Oh yeah, that guy didn't want. He just wanted to get
going
paid.
nowhere.
No, he liked the weather. He liked the scenery.
As long as it was in his contract to get free food from the DFAC, I think he would.
Just like what's his face is getting a free Taco Bell in his house.
Yeah.
Devontae, dude. So where are they going to end up, Paul? Since you're the one that brought this up about them both not being Jets after this past next season here.
Listen,
where do they go? Because they're going together if they're going anywhere.
Oh no, I don't think that.
I don't think Devontae wants to do that
they're going anywhere either. I think Woody's going to roll with this one more season.
No, I think Devontae.
I think Devontae leaves.
Yeah, I do. I think Devontae leaves, but I don't.
You think Devontae chases the title, maybe with a Kansas City or a?
I think if the money is right, because I don't think at this point he has room to talk about trying to get a big contract at this point, so he has to settle for a D-Hop type contract. And
I can see a team like Pittsburgh or like that picking up Adams for $12-13 million because they would pay
for
it.
1 year. I could do that.
Oh, yeah.
I would do that.
A lot of teams would rent him for that much money, but you got to at least be a team that's going to make the fucking playoffs.
I don't think he's going to just do another experiment again.
Until proven otherwise, I truly believe he's coming back to Green Bay.
Hope and a prayer, or you just think that maybe he knew he did it wrong, and
I think both sides know they did it wrong. Because I think Green Bay right now with Devontae Adams would be a hell of a lot different offensively. And we're really good offensively right now.
But yeah, you had a weapon. You got a legit number
That
one
opens up the line for Jacobs big time.
It opens up the line for Jacobs. It opens up Jaden Reed. It opens up Romeo Dobbs. It opens up Chris. You put Jaden in the slot. You put Romeo over there as the number 2, which you're talking T. Higgins number 2, right? We're not talking.
Oh, T. Higgins to me, that's Jaden Reed right now.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of them.
Yeah,
I mean,
still,
he'd be that number.
That's
number 2. Yeah,
it would be really cool. I think I do. I think that's the best fit. It's. I can be on board with the other arguments. I think all of those are very good spots. I just think familiarity and respect will go a long way in this conversation.
Well, now
Green Bay will have the cap space also to pay him comfortably.
Now that the college football playoff is winding down, and we've got 2 teams eliminated that have possibilities of having pretty good football players on them. We got Arizona State eliminated. I don't know about Scatabo. Is he a senior? Is he going to go in the NFL draft?
I don't know if he's a junior or senior, but if he does, I can see him going in the second or third round.
I think if he's a junior, you put your name in after what you did against Texas.
I think
in
you
the
feel
bowl
the
game.
water.
I think he would test the waters. He's going to obviously go. He's going to be a late first round, early second round pick, probably by somebody. But
I think it's early second round because of his performance against Penn State.
Are we ready to
still good?
Are we ready to see a white running back again in the NFL other than McCaffrey be a superstar? Is Scatabo? He's not that level, but could he be a starting running back in the NFL, or is he a second tier running back in the NFL?
He should have been invited to New York this year.
Oh yeah, he got shafted. To be honest, yeah.
But I don't know. Played at Arizona State, man.
It's party school. It's party school. Party time. Excellent.
Yeah, they played well against Texas, but
that's not saying much.
Thank you, because then we'll move forward. So I really hope he goes into the transfer portal and goes to a big school.
And you would hope so, especially with a better offensive line too.
Yep.
Dylan Gabriel is boo trash.
Dylan Gabriel is boo trash.
I think,
dude, you guys watched that video, right? Where he sounded like he was completely stoned. He sounded like me sometimes when I'm talking about nonsense. He sounded worse than me when he was talking. Yeah, we shouldn't even be playing in the. Why are they playing in the snow, man? Why we need to play in the sunshine? We're nice outside and shit.
I remember him from Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's been one of those guys who never really had a home. He just bounces around.
He played. I think he played at Oklahoma 2 years before he coming to Oregon.
I believe this is his 6th season. 5th or 6th season.
At the pace that they're gonna have 6-7 seasons.
He'll watch this. He'll tear his ACL in the second half of this football game, and he'll come back. He'll
get a waiver.
Season. Yeah, he'll get a waiver. And that's the other thing. The NCAA we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The NCAA needs to do away with the regulations of what happens. You can't just because now any player at any point in time in any game could be the last game of their career. And then they tear their ACL and they can't go in the NFL draft, but they want to play again. They'll just be like, hey, they'll apply for it and they get one more year.
That video of the 28-year-old crying.
The 9-year guy from Miami.
The 9-year guy from Miami. Yeah.
My career's over. It was over 4 years ago.
The guy's 20. You're 29 years old. You're older than your fucking college professor.
If he played one more year, he would have been eligible for NFL retirement. Yeah, that's how long he played in college.
He could get drafted and then just retire in the NFL, and they'd be like, "No, dude, you got to play 9 years in the NFL."
This is how bad it is for this kid. You played 9 years in college,
and I don't even think.
And you've got at least, I think there's 6 players that were from his high school class that have already graduated college and are 4 or 5 years into the NFL already.
Yeah.
And you're still here.
There's quarterbacks that got 3 or 4 years in the NFL, and their guys from their class are still playing in college.
It makes no sense.
7-year quarterbacks. I believe that Cam Rising is one of them. I can't remember off the top of my head who the other quarterback is, but
and he'll be playing one more year now too.
Yeah.
Look, Carson Beck got hurt, so we'll see him again next year.
I don't know if he put it down. He's going to the NFL draft. He's going to test the waters.
Nobody wants him.
He's good enough where a team will take him in the 5th, 6th round easily.
He's got the hand size, body height, body mass.
Yeah,
It's not mental.
Ask Charles about the hand size thing. Do you ever look at that? That's like a weird stat.
So who is it? Des Bryant?
Ball.
You know what size glove he wears?
I had probably like a 13.
He has a 7XL size glove. That is a massive hand.
I believe it. I believe it. How do you miss those hands?
That's why he didn't play baseball.
Like, it's the size of
He
your
didn't
hand,
have a glove
bro.
that fit his fucking hand.
Yeah.
He'd be out there to double catcher's mitt. What's up with your glove, bro? I don't know, man. This thing
Don't work.
custom made. It don't work. It don't close.
Yeah. Using the what's his face there, the Mariano glove. There's a piece of cardboard on his hand. Put it in your back pocket.
Poor Oregon.
That's one hell of a story too.
This is not the way to go out if you're Oregon.
This is exactly what Big Ten football looks like.
What are you talking about? It's first and goal.
I'm just saying, this is not how you wanted to start the first half.
Why am I scoring a touchdown?
No, I'm saying this is not how you wanted to start your first half of being the first team in the playoff, the number one team in the playoff, and you're down 34-8.
This is one of the things we talked about, Paul, when Charles when he was off for a little bit here.
Yeah.
They're going to be changing this. This is we weren't even supposed to be at this point. They started the playoffs 2 years early. It wasn't supposed to start till 2026. They said
automatic bid definitely did not. They shot themselves in the foot with this automatic bid shit.
Yeah, they're going to do away with that. You're still going to get your champions in, but I think what they're going to do is the seeding is going to be different. Obviously,
so someone
fucked up.
Somebody said that they had the blueprint with March Madness and just fucked it up.
They probably thought that was a good idea, and then they realized that, I'm sorry that Boise State is not on the same fucking level as the 7th ranked team, even in the SEC or the Big Ten or hell, even the ACC. They're not. The number one team in that division, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is not as good as those teams. You don't even have to look at paper. Don't even have to look at schedules. Just watch them play, and you would have knew that.
And then even that with Arizona State, it's nothing against Arizona State. But technically, you guys were ranked 17th by the time the playoffs were a week away from being finalized. And you jumped into the 4th seed.
Arizona State lost to 2 really bad teams. They lost to Cincinnati, I believe, and I believe they lost to another team that typically gets blown the fuck up.
So let me ask you this question. Honestly, around the board. Are you okay with if, let's say, a team out of the Big 10, Big 12, SEC, or ACC, and they win the championship and they're outside of the top 12, are you okay that they missed the playoffs as a conference championship?
I'm okay with it because this is what we all wanted for years.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. As of the team that's going to be
at
on
the end of the day, just because you win the
conference
conference championship doesn't mean you don't get an automatic bid. To me,
here's the thing: you're a fan of Texas,
yep,
and we're a fan of Michigan.
Correct.
That's why we're okay with it.
Yeah,
but I'm saying even
we're not going to. Our universities are never going to be in that position.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying if I'm Texas, let's say Texas was 9-3, they were in Clemson's situation, right?
Put them in Alabama situation because that makes more sense.
Let's say Texas was in Alabama situation, right? And we won the conference championship with 9 wins and 3 losses. There's no fucking way I should be in the playoffs.
Considering the rest of your conference was trash, yes.
Yeah, you're talking about the ACC.
But that's the difference, though. That's what makes this conversation hard. I get what you're saying, but the difference is like the worst team in the SEC was like Alabama this year, right? Like
that was on the cusp of making it. Yeah,
absolutely. You're even in all of these bowl games, it's. The SEC's getting smacked by the Big Ten.
Well,
but
left and fucking right.
A prime example is example 1. South Carolina was 3-3. They won 6 games in a row. They were on a roll, I believe.
They got smacked around by Illinois.
Smacked by fucking Illinois.
And then Alabama gets smacked around by an unranked Michigan.
They got physically pushed around.
Yes. Either way, but
here's the thing: South Carolina beats Arizona State.
Oh yeah, on a neutral field, probably.
South Carolina and South Carolina probably beats Boise State.
Well, let's be honest. The only reason that Texas game got close is because Texas decided to take their foot off the brakes. They did that to themselves. They were up by 16.
all year.
16 fucking points with 9 minutes to go, and they let
did
them
what the
run on
Packers
field
did,
twice.
except you guys.
We've been doing it to ourselves all year. We'll start off. It's either one or two things.
You guys play 12 minutes of football.
We start off hot and then go to sleep, or we're asleep up to the second half, and then we decide to wake up, and it's still way too close than it needs to be, and it's irritating.
Paul, you can say what it is. You can just say it's.
And Quinn Ewers sucks dick.
There you go. I knew that shit was coming. It was inevitable at some point.
He plays so scared. I feel like once he makes a mistake, his confidence gets shot.
Is there something going on in Texas that they just won't put Arch Manning in there? He's not redshirted. He's not redshirted, right? He played 2 games.
He played 2 games, and he has plays that he comes in for.
And it's weird to me that they don't think he's the better quarterback than Ewers right now. You are in the playoffs right now. If he is your best opportunity to win,
why is he not in there?
I don't give a fuck about the other guy.
I don't give a fuck. We're not playing for emotions at this point. We're trying to win a national championship. I don't care about your ego. I don't care about what your contract or what you think you're supposed to be entitled to.
So it makes me think that maybe, quite possibly, this is a coaching thing. They just don't want to get him hurt. They think they can win without him, type deal.
I'm tired of that.
His time is next year.
No. Listen.
Because as Michigan fans, we might be running into this next year where Jaden Daniels or not Jaden Daniels, but whatever the guy's name is. No, not Bryce Center, but Jaden, the guy he was in the 5-star too. He's the backup. He didn't play at all this year.
Orgy or whatever?
No, Michigan had a freshman quarterback that
he transferred out?
He redshirted and he didn't play. Everybody was calling for him.
Yeah, he was redshirted last year. I know that he was redshirted last year. But there was I don't understand this fear of getting him hurt. I'm like, this is football.
It could just be as simple as in practice, he's being outperformed.
That's what I mean. It's a coaching thing. They just feel like they don't need him to win, and why risk him getting injured when he's the future of your football program moving forward. I get that 100%.
And nothing has happened in the couple of games that Archie has played this year that makes me feel how you two are talking right now. If we're all on the same,
not me, but Paul.
I don't mean to. I'm just saying. I think the veteran is the way to go here.
When you're in the playoffs, you can't be putting a freshman in there and be like, "Hey, buddy, go out there and take a hit."
Because it's the thing is, like you hope Ewers starts letting the ball loose, but like in that Arizona game, 1 or 2 interceptions, and you guys might lose by 2 touchdowns.
I have a question for both of you.
But I don't know. From the outside looking in,
here's the thing. Are we ever going to see a freshman quarterback lead a team to a national championship ever again?
Probably not.
With the transfer portal the way that it is, I don't think we ever are going to.
I think the odds are stacked against them.
I'm not saying that player won't win it in his second, third year.
No, I know what
you're outright true freshman, not a chance.
Comes in and he just has the
I see what you're saying.
Career.
I know. The reason I'm saying the odds are against them in that is because, yes, you're right.
It's because of the transfer portal.
Look at Ohio State. Ohio State's got a team like Will Howard. Can you imagine if they had a freshman phenom that wasn't on their $20 million roster? Then yes, probably.
Well, I feel like that guy that transferred out is pissed that they went and got Will Howard because he was a 5-star, number 1 recruit, number 2 recruit quarterback in the country, and they just basically told him to go fuck himself. And they brought in Will Howard, who you said he was terrible. I said he was terrible. Paul even agreed he was fucking terrible. He's not terrible, but he's not what I expect when I think of Ohio State as a quarterback.
I just think it was funny. Yeah. I laughed. Spent $20 million, and the quarterback you got was Will Howard.
Right. I mean, they could have put anybody in there.
It's like they went and got Derek Carr.
It could fall down to something as simple though as their only blemish this year really would be the dumb shit move in Oregon and then losing to Michigan at home.
But that's a big skid mark.
Not if you win the Natty.
If
I'm just saying, the way I look at Michigan winning the Natty, win or lose to Ohio State, we were in that playoff. We were in the playoff.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
And I think we win no matter what. But yeah, no, I'd still be pissed. I wouldn't. Yeah, they still lost to Michigan.
Yeah, they win a national championship.
It's not that you lost to Michigan. You lost to an unranked Michigan, and you were the favorite.
by 21
at home without a quarterback. Yeah.
That stings worse than losing to 1 point to Oregon.
A team that literally says, "Hey, we can't even throw the ball. We're just gonna keep fucking handing it off."
And we stopped you at home.
In Michigan beat Alabama.
Like,
Warren went out
what
before,
the hell?
his fucking MCL, and he's just sitting on the sideline. And then the quarterback comes in that literally can't throw the ball. I love Orgy. The Orgy's in the end zone. That was funny. But he literally is not a quarterback. It's a running tight end out there that is a big motherfucker, and he can't throw a pass to save his life. But he's out there playing quarterback. You lost to that.
If Ohio State lets Oregon come back,
it's 34-15 with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's entirely possible that Ohio State pisses this away. It's possible, but it's going to take a lot more. They need a defensive stop. They need a pick six right now to get the momentum back. That might do it,
or a bunch of 3-and-outs, quick 3-and-outs.
I just don't think Ohio State's they'll take their foot off the gas a little bit, but eventually they're going to throw it deep to their running back, or somebody's going to break one, and they're going to score again.
Hell, they already did a 60-yard run on them earlier.
So is there any meaningful NFL game to even talk about?
Yeah.
All right, let's break down the games that matter real quick.
Yeah, we'll quickly break down the games that matter. Yeah, it's coming up on playoffs. We're Falcons, Panthers, or Buccaneers, Saints, right? So if the Bucks beat the Saints, they're in, period. Done. Now Minnesota beats the Lions that go to the Buccaneers, period.
Yeah.
And that would be hilarious. Then the Lions go and play in Tampa and lose the first game of the season.
The Tampa is Detroit's bugaboo. That's Detroit's bugaboo, man.
I'm just saying. So
that's a terrible
Detroit.
Matchup because Baker's going to throw for 400.
Yeah.
Detroit throws for another 5-touchdown game on Detroit.
Baker will eat that defensive backfield alive with the receivers that he has.
Both those teams are going to have to score
40 points.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on with that game. So do the Falcons pull it off against the Panthers, and do the Saints play a little magic against the Bucks? Or do the Saints play chess? Because I think the Saints hate the Falcons more than they hate the Buccaneers, just as much as Green Bay decided that playing on the East Coast and allowing Minnesota to go after the first overall position was probably in their better interest. After how Green Bay started that game. I'm not saying Green Bay went into it thinking, "Oh, we're going to lose, so the Lions have to earn it." I'm just saying it's not as terrible as we think. We went from having to play on the West Coast now to playing on the East Coast and playing a team that beat us by less than 4 points the last time we played them.
Can someone explain to me how Miami is still alive?
Because the AFC is terrible.
I still don't.
Between Denver, Bengals,
they're 8-8. I don't.
Right, but so are the Bengals. So it depends. So I think the last three teams is Denver, Bengals, and Miami.
Oh, really?
Well,
Denver's a 14-point favorite. I don't think they're going to lose, but
see, that's the thing. If Denver wins, nothing else matters.
Right.
But the Bengals beat the Steelers, and then
Detroit. And if Denver loses to Kansas City,
the Jaguars beat the Colts, and the Jets beat the Dolphins, and the Kansas City beats the Broncos, then the Bengals are in.
There's a lot of scenarios.
Yeah, so the AFC's got way more games.
The Bengals and Miami need a lot of help, but like y'all said, if Denver beats Kansas City,
Denver wins, nothing matters.
It's closed.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to make a couple group picks on these because
since we're at the last week,
so let's go ahead and pick the Bucks Saints. Who do we think is going to win that one?
I think Tampa's got that one.
I think Tampa Bay should win that. I think unless Baker shoots them in the foot and the Saints magically play a great football game.
I don't see the Saints.
Yeah, Saints are in a magical rebuild. They need a new GM and everything. They have no idea how the salary cap works. They're not a fucking clue.
They're in NFL draft mode, and they're 5-11. They're hoping to get a top 15 pick.
I think they're still paying Drew Brees. That's how bad they are.
Probably.
They're in the whole $62 million.
Well, that's why he said, I think they're still paying.
They're paying somebody.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Well,
I know they're still paying Michael Thomas.
I think we looked this up. They're still paying an offensive lineman, I think, that retired 2 years ago.
So now the Panthers at Falcons.
I think the Panthers can upset the Falcons.
I don't even think it's going to be upset. I think the Panthers are going to be favored. And I haven't even looked at it yet.
No, because I think he's sitting. So who's quarterback for the Carolina? Who's the backup quarterback for the Panthers?
The Red Rocket.
Yeah,
The
and they got
Falcons are
Penix.
an 8-point favorite.
Yeah, so he's definitely not playing. If Bryce Young was playing, I think they're probably a 2.5 point favorite.
I still think that, and then they lost Hubbard.
Oh, that hurts.
I don't know. I think
If
Atlanta
if they want to play spoil, if Penix comes in and he literally throws a pick and they take the lead early, Carolina can sit on that. They're good enough. They're decent enough. I shouldn't say
they're good enough to disappoint somebody.
Yeah, they're decent enough to make that be an upset pick for sure.
So Texans at Titans. The only thing the Titans are playing for, something we discussed off show,
Draft position, yeah,
draft position and contract incentives.
Because Titans already locked the division, right? The Texans, they already locked the division, the AFC.
Yes. Because the other teams that mentioned are playing for wild card.
And they're only a 1-point favorite, so that means they're resting people.
Okay, so let's.
They probably want to lose. Tennessee's a 1-point favorite.
Okay, so we're gonna pick the Chiefs Broncos.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
So we're all on the Buccaneers. So let's go ahead and pick the Chiefs Broncos.
I think the Broncos pull it off just because the Chiefs have nothing to lose in this game. Because they already got the first round bye locked up, the first seed, so they don't have it. And Mahomes is projected to get 5 points in fantasy, so they're resting all the starters.
That's because he's going to start, like Charles said, he'll probably play a series. More than likely, that's what's going to happen.
Or like with the streak?
I don't know is it a streak?
Are the Bengals the worst defense in the NFL?
I would think so.
Yeah, so probably.
I'm like, they're at least the bottom 5.
They're bottom 5. Okay, so the reason I bring this up is Denver, with all of their starters, only managed. Now, this bodes well for me because I picked up Mims Jr. for fantasy football here. But the Denver did manage to lose to the Bengals.
Yeah.
And they only managed to score 24 points.
Let's be honest.
Giving up 30.
The only reason that team has even won a football game is because Burrow's probably throw for 350, 400 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So, I mean,
all those wins are accredited.
If they make the playoffs, it's going to take.
I'm just saying, I agree with you. The reason I bring this up is I think this is a win. Everything says this is a win for Denver, which means Kansas City is going to win this one.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City's third string pulls this off.
Kansas City's second string, even. It might not be all third stringers. Maybe there's even starters out there. They can't all be sitting. I can't imagine they're all sitting.
No, just the big contracts on. Oh yeah, Oregon just
pissed it away right there.
Yep. This is why I picked this one. This one's tough. This was tougher than. Denver's supposed to win it, right? And everyone's going to pick Denver, which makes me think Kansas City's going to win this one. So I'm on Kansas City. I'm not going to be against the show picking Denver. I'm just saying.
So you're saying Carson Wentz is going to lead Kansas City to a victory?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I can see it. This game's going to, either way, it's going to be a lot closer than that 13.5 point.
Okay, so the show's on Denver. That's all right. I get that. I just had to play a little. I just had to play a little DA. You know.
The one I can agree with is probably the other one. I believe the Carolinas probably got a way better chance of upsetting Atlanta.
Than Kansas City's third string.
Why? Because Denver absolutely needs to win that game.
They're playing. They're literally playing to win.
They're playing for their playoff life.
You're winning and you're in.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the final game is Vikings-Lions. That's really the only one.
They're playing in Minnesota, right? Or are they playing in Detroit?
In Detroit.
In
Detroit.
It's gonna be chaotic. So chaotic.
I love that it's it's the night game too. They flex it to that, or was that a night game?
It was flexed.
They flexed the shit out that game.
Yeah. It's a 3-point game.
What's the over-under? 70?
56.5, which is, to me, seems low.
Which defense is the one that's going to get exploited the most is the question.
Oh,
Detroit's defense. No, indubitably. Yeah.
Like I said, Jared Goff's going to have to throw the ball a lot more than he's used to because Minnesota's not just going to sit back and let him pick them apart. I think Minnesota's got this game, to be honest with you.
I can see Minnesota pulling this off.
I'm telling you.
But my gut is going with Detroit, though.
It's really hard to win one-dimensionally against playoff teams in a playoff atmosphere. And Detroit is a one-dimensional team due to injuries. It doesn't matter what they could have been.
They got injuries up the ass.
What they are is
like 16 or 17 teams.
And it's not like little injuries. These are major players that are gone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they had 11 guys. Their whole starting defense, I believe, is on the
Damn
IR.
near their whole
Outside of
defense
2 or
is
3
gone. You
guys.
lose Montgomery, even though he said he's not getting surgery, so he'll be able to make it back for the playoffs, whether it's the divisional round.
Oh, talking about surgery, Jair Alexander is gone for the season. By the way, he's out. He's having knee surgery.
The way he
Why was
fit.
he not on IR? That's a good question. I think they're I think they're letting him go. He's like an $18 million cap hit next year.
We shall see. It'll be funny.
I think they can go out and get a splash DB anyway, so I don't think they need him.
I think I'm going Detroit.
I'm going Minnesota on this one. I think regardless if it comes down defensively or not, I like Minnesota in this one.
I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota wins. I just want to put that out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota pulls this off.
I believe Darnold's played better.
He just put 400. He put almost 400 yards on Green Bay's defense, which is better than Detroit's defense,
and almost lost.
And so
it's not. It's going to be a close game. All three of those teams are within like a touchdown.
It's a division game. These are division games because even with the Denver and Kansas City, even though they're not playing for the division, it's still division games. Just do that to people.
Pressure's on.
Yeah, but the Minnesota Viking games, there's a lot of stake on here. Not just the division. This is the first seed in the NFC on the line.
Somebody's microphone.
Oh, that's my fan. My bad.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, playing for the number 1 seed and the division at the same time on prime time, that's a lot of pressure.
It's a playoff atmosphere. Playoff football. Yeah.
There's a lot on the line.
It comes down to Patrick. Who you picking, Patrick? I got Minnesota.
I got Minnesota's defense. I got more faith in Minnesota's defense.
Defense wins championships. This is something that I will stick to for the rest of my life. Defense wins championships. I died on this hill when Peyton Manning.
They put more pressure on the quarterback. Minnesota does. That's why I have more faith that they'll be more successful in the playoffs than Detroit does too. Like I can see Detroit somehow limping into the Super Bowl, but I don't know. I think when it comes down to it, Minnesota wins the division. Everybody's got to go through Minnesota. I think Minnesota's a better football team.
Crazy.
A healthy Detroit, I would take Detroit.
This was not on my bingo card.
You guys tried to relegate Minnesota.
I tried to relegate Minnesota. 100%. I walked it back. I walked it back now.
I was right.
I agree with you. Yes, even though you call them Sam Darnold, or not Sam Darnold, Sam Bradford.
For the first 2/3 of the season.
Yeah, they got fucking Sam Bradford out there.
Or whatever his fucking name is.
You guys got anything else you want to bring out?
Oh, I think we covered it all.
I'm just excited to see what this NFL weekend turns out to be. I hope it doesn't turn out to what the fuck we saw on Christmas Day, where Baltimore beat the shit out of the Texans and only let them score 2 fucking points. That was the most embarrassing game I ever seen in my life.
I hope it happens that way. I hope it happens exactly the same fucking way.
I knew you were gonna say that. I wanted to go that route. 100%.
I want it to go how it's supposed to go. That's what I tell. Do what you're supposed to do.
2 points?
Oh yeah,
like that's crazy.
It's just so awesome too. CJ Stroud MVP. CJ Stroud so great. Now you're hearing the same thing about Jane Daniels this year. Don't get sucked into that fucking hype.
This is the thing. I posted. I think I shared it with you guys. I might not have. I posted that the only people that should be in the conversation for MVP, in no particular order, Barkley, Allen, Goff, and Jackson. Those I feel are the only 4 players right now that, in my opinion, Barkley should, if he was allowed to break the record, he's my MVP, just like I thought CMC last year was the MVP. But
yeah, you're just an anti-quarterback guy.
No, but honestly, the only 2 people that should only 2 people I feel should be in the conversation for MVP is either Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. If Burrows had a better winning record, then it's Burrows without even a question. Now, if Burrow gets the Bengals into the playoffs,
but the thing is,
Burrow the MVP.
The thing is that you can't ignore the fact that it's quarterback war and that your team's success has nothing to do with that. Your team sucks, but the team does suck, but the offense doesn't suck.
But do you give him the MVP?
That's why Burrow will be in the conversation. It's inevitable.
The reason I think Allen wins it over Jackson is because the year Rodgers won his back-to-back MVP, didn't Green Bay have the best record in football?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. I think
Somebody said that
statistically had the best quarterback stats, and
It's
you were on the team
amazing
with
to
the
me
best
that we're
record.
sitting
So,
here talking about these people, and then the goddamn Kansas City Chiefs are sitting at 15-1.
but they're playing trash.
No, they're playing. Their schedule has been boop, 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 boop. It reminds me of Mario.
That part. And this is the thing.
Yeah.
They haven't scored over 30 points not one time this whole season.
Yeah.
And they're 15-1.
Well, Charles brought that up a couple weeks ago. He goes,
That
"This
is-
team in
that
the
is-
only team in the NFL to not score over 30 points or something like
And
that."
the other 3 teams are below 500.
shout out to their defense.
Their defense is great. Yeah.
Shout out to Kansas City's defense. This is
It's
the team.
a
The only
recipe
team,
for success.
the only team in the NFL to cast a shutout though is
Green Bay.
That's right. I believe the Joe Burrow MVP conversation, which is crazy to say this, but I still think it's too early. I think
If he makes the playoffs.
if he makes the playoffs, I believe there's a conversation because the best team in the NFL or teams in the NFL
Well, if he
don't
goes
have a
in,
conversational
well,
piece.
right, and if he goes in Saturday night and he goes and he throws for 360, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, Jamar Chase has 150 yards. Like, he shows that they should be in the playoffs. They're 9-8. They beat the Steelers on the road in a tough night game, tough atmosphere. Yeah, a lot of eyes are going to be on them. People are going to be like, okay, yeah, they're okay, but that defense is
Horrendous.
They're not going to have playoff success.
no, by no means. They're going to be an underdog no matter who they play in the playoffs. Even if they go in and play the freaking Texans, they'll probably be underdogs because that
Let me
defense
ask you
is just
this.
that bad.
So, I don't know if y'all saw what I said earlier. I think it was like earlier this week. I
Yeah.
said that if Joe Burrows wins the MVP, as good of a season that he had, it was just like, I feel like in comparison, I'm not saying that it's like the same level, but in comparison to when Russell Westbrook won his MVP off of his triple-double, the first time he had his triple-double season. He won it basically because of that. But that team that he had was ass. They were the 8th seed in the NBA playoffs. You were ass. Yes, Joe Burrow is playing great. Their offense is clicking, but your defense is ass.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But that's the same. Listen, you're explaining. There is no difference between the Detroit Lions and the Cincinnati fucking.
No,
Bengals.
I'm just saying MVP. If Burrow wins the MVP, that's how I'm going to see it.
There's
I'm not saying
difference.
that it's going to be less than
Oh.
because he's earned the MVP based off of his stats. Because we're talking about most valuable player.
They do
I
just
get that.
enough to win. That's the only difference.
But
unfortunately,
team-wise, you're not going to
Cincinnati's
tell me, even with Joe Burrow's having an MVP season, you're not going to tell me the Bengals are a team to be feared in the playoffs because the defense is ass.
I'm sorry. I just didn't realize we were talking like Joe Burrow could actually win the MVP. Like, it's not. Here's the.
I'm not saying that he can, but you have those few people out there that because
but the
he's
NFL
having an
MVP
MVP season, I'm like, that's great, but that's not who the MVP is going to go to. He can have a great season, but his team is still ass.
The NFL isn't the NBA. The NFL isn't the NBA. They don't give awards to people like Rudy Gobert.
You have to have a good team. And
if they did,
now
a lot of people would probably
here's
stop watching it.
Here's one comparison that I don't know if y'all heard it. I think either Nick Wright said it or Colin Hurd.
You lost.
Said that
me
if Josh
already.
Allen if Josh Allen wins the MVP, it's going to be the same reason why Joel Embiid won the MVP out of pity, because Lamar Jackson had the better year.
But again, too, the reason I think Allen wins it over Lamar is because Lamar isn't on the best team in football, and he won it last year.
You want to know why I think Josh Allen is going to win it? Me personally, and I agree with somebody, I can't remember who said this. Lamar Jackson has great seasons all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Charles said it.
No, I heard it somewhere else too.
Best damn running quarterback in the NFL history.
Now, Josh Allen, when the season started, nobody expected this team to be this good because their defense got pretty much exploded.
I will admit, I came out and said I do not understand. I do not know how Josh Allen is going to have success.
And you traded away Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
You traded Diggs away, so you traded away your number one receiver. You draft a rookie receiver to replace him that was on and off with injuries. You trade for Amari Cooper that hasn't been playing the way that it's not playing out the way you thought it would, right? So Josh Allen, you take Josh Allen away from Buffalo, it's not going to work. I think I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson removing him from Baltimore, but he's probably having a better year this year, which is a big factor to Derrick Henry being on that team. Because Derrick Henry's having another Derrick Henry year with a better offensive line, better offensive play calling, all that he had in Tennessee.
You're not going to win back-to-back MVP unless you're on the best team of football.
And you're barely about to win the division for Baltimore.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, it's
Lamar's going to have to live in Derrick Henry's shadow this year too, because arguably without him, he might not have the stats that he's had to.
And on top of
that doesn't take anything away with him individually.
And Buffalo technically has beat both teams that are the number 1 seed right now in the NFL, in the AFC, NFC.
They beat Kansas City.
They beat Kansas City and they beat Detroit.
Yeah.
They didn't beat Minnesota.
They haven't played Minnesota yet. I'm just saying right now, the number 1 seeds right now, projected now.
Well, no, actually, Minnesota's a projected number 1 seed. They've got it over the lines right now.
At the time, before this last week.
Before. Yeah,
but either way, you beat 2 of the top 4 teams in the league right now. Nobody could say they beat Kansas City yet outside of Buffalo right now.
Yeah.
The MVP never goes to the MVP very rarely goes to who it's
supposed to go.
Yeah, the MVP goes to who the voters vote for.
And it's going to be Allen.
And it's terrible. But for the most part, the MVP goes to a deserving person. It's just whether the majority believes the same.
You can argue it all day long. It
but there are historical guidelines that you could follow.
To be honest, either one, it's 1A or 1B. I would not be upset if Lamar won it again, and I wouldn't be upset if Allen won his first.
Either way, it works out for me.
I'd be happy.
I think it's fine.
I think Lamar Jackson winning last year was like Joel Embiid winning the MVP.
That makes way more sense. Yeah,
he definitely shouldn't have won it last year.
Yes,
and it's not just discrediting him, but
which takes away from how great this year is, in my opinion, for Lamar Jackson. But yeah, that's very upsetting. Okay, we got a lot to talk about to come next week. I'm very excited about it. The start of season 3 was a killer. Of course, we couldn't be here without all of you, our guests, our listeners, our friends, our family, all of you. We're so happy that y'all have made it through this holiday season. Now let's get these bills paid up and let's get ready for spring. Spring is going to be fantastic for those of us who live in these snowy places. For those of you who don't live in snowy places, enjoy the not so hot weather for as long as it lasts, because that pain is coming back soon, suckers. Daylight's on our side.
I hate the heat.
Hate the heat.
But so season 1 was smile more. Season 2 was all about how much we love you. I have no idea what season 3 is going to be. It's just going to hit us at one of these times. So for now, we're just going to say that I'm so glad you're smiling and the love is continued, and we'll see you again very soon.
She lost back in the child, cause the mind all rest of the blind. Yeah, go now, bad in your life. In school, I see the bag. The beats that bring your eye. At avoiding the light skin style.